After our quiet talk by the river, I felt I had to learn more about the old ways. I went to see Iyagba again. I asked her about the stories of old, of curses and sorrow that touched some families. With gentle eyes, she said, "There is a shrine on the hill beyond our village. It is a place where the voices of our ancestors still speak. If you truly love Tunde, you must go there and ask for guidance. The spirits may show you how to ease his burden." I was so scared at the thought, for the shrine was a place of old magic and memories. Yet my love for Tunde gave me strength. I packed a small bag with a little food, water, and a cloth on which our names were sewn together. Iyagba pressed a small charm into my hand. "This will protect you, my child," she whispered. That night, I left the village under a sky that wore a thin veil of clouds. I walked slowly along the dusty path to the hill. The air was cool and each step felt heavy with both fear and hope. I reached the shrine, a small stone structure covered with moss and vines. I sat on the cool stone and whispered my prayers. "Spirit of our land, I beg of you to help me. I love a man who is lost in sorrow. Show me the way to free him of this burden, so that the love may heal our hearts." I waited in the silence. For a long time, nothing happened. Then a soft breeze stirred, and I heard a quiet, almost gentle voice in the rustling of the leaves. It said, "Child, your love is strong. To free him, you must face the truth of the past. Go to the place where old blood was shed, where a bitter rose lies hidden. Only then can you learn the key to healing." My heart pounded. I thanked the unseen spirits and left the shrine with new purpose. The path led me to a small clearing near the edge of the village. There, on the ground, I saw an old withered rose with petals blackened by time. I remember the petal Tunde had left that fateful night. With trembling fingers, I picked it up, knowing that this was the sign I had been sent to find. I carried the rose back to the shrine and sat beneath the open sky. Holding the rose close, I whispered, "I will not let your pain define you, Tunde. I will help you set it free." That night, as I held the rose, I felt a soft glow around it, and I heard a sigh in the wind, a sound that filled me with a small fragile hope. The next day, I went to find Tunde. I found him sitting by the river, staring into the water as if searching for something he could not name. I sat beside him and gently held out the rose. "Tunde, I went to the old shrine. I asked the spirits for help and they told me that the key to easing your pain is to face the truth of that dark day." He looked at the rose and then at me, his eyes full of both love and sorrow. "I have tried to hide it, Amina. I have run away from my past, hoping that if I could ignore it, the pain would fade. But every time the moon hides its light, I feel the weight of that terrible night." He took a deep, shaky breath and began to speak. "Many years ago, there was a fierce fight between our people and those from a neighboring clan. In the chaos, my great-grandfather, one of our proud men, took a life he should never have taken. That day, the land was soaked with grief and a curse, or so the old ones say, was born from the spilled blood. I was born with that curse in my blood, and I have carried its burden all my life." Tears rolled down my cheeks as I listened. I reached for his hand. "Tunde, I do not see a curse. I see a man who has been hurt by the past, a past that you did not choose. I love you, and I believe we can heal together." He squeezed my hand, his grip trembling. "I want to believe that, Amina, but I feel the call of that darkness every time I close my eyes. It's as if the old wrongs cry out for justice and I am being tapped in their echo." I knew then that our next step was to try to break this cycle. I recalled the voice of the spirit at the shrine. "We must return to the place where the blood was shed," I said. "Let's go there and bury this old pain in the earth so that it may finally be at rest." That night, under a sky blanketed with thick, heavy clouds, we left the village hand in hand. We walked to the clearing I had found before, the one with the withered rose. There, I dug a small hole in the soft soil with great care. We placed the rose inside and covered it with earth. As we patted the soil down, a soft breeze stirred, and for a moment I thought I saw a faint glow rising from the ground. "Do you see that?" I asked in a hushed tone. Tunde nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting a mix of wonder and relief. "Maybe it is a sign that our pain can be healed," he whispered. In that quiet moment, I felt hope seep into my heart. Perhaps by accepting the sorrow of the past, we could let go of its heavy hold. Perhaps our love was strong enough to face the darkness and bring back the light. In the days and weeks that followed our act at the clearing, I began to see changes in Tunde. The deep sadness that had once shadowed his eyes began to lift bit by bit. He started to join the work of the village again and even smiled at small things. Though the memories of that dark night still visited him sometimes, they seemed less powerful now. Our love grew even as we walked to heal the past. In the mornings, we would walk to the river together, our fingers laced, sharing soft words and small dreams. In the evenings, I would listen as he recounted memories of his childhood, both joyful and painful, and I held him close when the weight of old sorrow